Good morning. I think you can hear me. Okay. Whoa. All right. First of all, I would like to say how humble I am and grateful that I was asked to be a part of such a special day and such a special conference. I want to thank Coach Wigman for that simple introduction. That's more me. And I want to thank Coach Kearns for giving me a call this summer and asking if I would be a part of presenting and speaking to you today about leadership. But I also want to thank the entire foundation for this opportunity as well. One of the things for me in terms of speaking, every opportunity that I get to speak, I want the people who I'm presenting to understand that I want you to also imagine me sitting right next to you, because I'm not just speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself. And I think that's very important as any presenter, administrator, coach, teacher, is that I always want to be in a constant state of learning and gaining knowledge from others. So when I speak to you, I speak to myself as well. I next would like to say congratulations for all of you all being selected to be a part of the Ed Thomas Legacy Leadership Academy today. You have displayed in some manner the ability to lead. There are school administrators, teachers, coaches, and other leadership staff who have seen something very, very special within you. And that's why you're here today. So congratulations. There are several different terms that are used to define leadership. So what I thought about today is just to really break that word down. So I think when we can spend a little bit of time, I loved, one thing about college is I loved research. I loved looking within. I'm not a surface person. And so I wanted to break down the word leadership in three different ways. And so my title today is simply leadership. There are several different terms that are used to define leadership. Terms is the key word. Management or to manage, control, guidance, headship, director or direction, influence people, governance, superior, big shot, big wheel, and the boss. Now, I'm going to reflect back on those last three. The big shot. We all have heard someone be defined as the big shot. That's the person. Okay? Back where I'm from, the word big wheel was important. Big wheel was important because the person in the community that had the nicest car with the biggest, cleanest wheels was said that they had made it. They was the leader in the community because the type of car they drove and the type of wheels that was on it and what size the wheels was, and the key component was that the wheels was clean. All right? The company overall made a ton of money in most cities to shine those wheels up. That was a statement that was someone that had made it in the community. They were a leader. And obviously the last one, the boss. That's the person in charge. The expression of terms, depending on how they are delivered, comes with an impact. So these terms, depending on what their delivery is and how they're delivered, it comes with a major impact. That would demand one to recognize and to acknowledge that individual. Uh-oh. All right. So the expression of the terms comes with an impact that would demand one to recognize and to acknowledge that individual. So we're talking about the term. Okay? The next step that many people with this situation, terms and organizations, is to look at what qualities that come from leaders. What are the qualities? So now we started off with what the terms is that describes a leader. Now we go on what the quality is. People look at qualities. When people talk about leaders, they talk about certain qualities that a leader has. So when we as coaches or teachers or administrators see one of you all at work, a lot of times we talk about what those qualities is that you have. And so some of these qualities are character, and you're influential, you're a visionary, you have this way of being inspired. You can inspire people. You're a motivator. You're charismatic. You have this great way of humility. I feel like you're going to take off on the ship here. Is that better? Okay. So we're talking about characteristics. So someone who's charismatic or who has a high level of humility, and the other one is trustworthiness. All right, someone who is trustworthy. But for me, I would like to focus not so much on the power of the term, not so much the qualities of a leader, but rather the action of a leader. Action. I want to talk about the actions of a leader. So the actions of a leader looks like this to me. The first one is the faithfulness of a leader. Wow. Faithfulness. No matter what, that leader always show that action of caring, no matter what. The next one, non-judgmental. Everybody, have you ever known that leader who's just, no matter what the circumstance is, situation, they're non-judgmental. They have not ever said anything negative and placed judgment on anyone or any decision that person made. The next one is the person has this passion about them. And that passion is consistent and it's constant. Think about this person in your life who's always passionate about everything that they do every day. And it's always consistent and it's always constant. And then I'm going to go back to again. It's the action of a leader is non-judgmental again. I can't stress that. That wasn't an accident. I want to put that in there again because sometimes as leaders, our opinions gets heard, but sometimes our opinions are so judgmental. So again, the action of a leader is non-judgmental. The next one. The actions of a leader that I love is those leaders that has an open heart, they have an open mind, and they have an open soul. People view these individuals as people with intuition. Wow. Okay? Intuition. I'll give you an example of a person like this that has an open heart and an open mind and an open soul. I never ever forget my mom saying to me after a major loss in high school in a football game, she came to me and she put her arms around me, and you know what she said to me is not one thing about the win or the loss of the game. She said to me, "Son, look at me. This day too shall pass." we just lost a sub-state football game. She didn't say good job. She didn't say bad job. She didn't say I could have worked harder. She said, son, look at me. And said, this day too shall pass. She hugged me, she kissed me, and she said, let's go home. Actions of a leader, ones who have an open heart and an open mind and open soul, they have that intuition. Actions of a leader is one who is spirited. They're spirited. If you don't have that teacher or that coach who is spirited in your life, I hope at some point you experience that individual. I'm talking about that teacher, that coach, or that administrator who's always got a smile on their face. They always are high-fiving. Nothing is never wrong. For me, that spirited person, for me, wasn't necessarily in my high school. I'm from a major metropolitan city, the heart of downtown Kansas City, Kansas. For me, you know who that person was? That spirited person was my grandmother. My grandmother was always excited about life. Her spirit, when she walked in the door, demanded you to lift your spirits up without her saying a word. And that hug that she could give you made you feel so good. So actions of a leader to me has to be spirited. The next one, what I consider an inspired soul. An inspired soul. An inspired soul says, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how hard it is, believe in the struggle. And you will be able to work through that struggle. The next one, dreamer. I really believe an action of a leader is a dreamer. You can't cut it off. It's constant. They're constantly dreaming and having this vision of how not necessarily to win or to be successful, but how to make life better. A dreamer is not just concerned about themselves, but they're concerned about everyone else first. The next one, a communicator. A communicator. And the key to this is the delivery. We all have had those moments that our parents or our coaches or our teachers who we feel like have said something and they were right on. But what really hit the soul is how they said it. So I want you all to understand that the action of a leader, your delivery is important. When you're working with your friends and your peers, how you deliver that message that they are better, that they can make better choices, that they do have the ability. That delivery is key. Because if your delivery is one in which puts people down, it's not going to be heard. So our delivery, in my opinion, as being a leader, that action of that delivery is critical. The next one is honesty. Honesty, being honest. That's a simple one. We learned that as a child. How just to simply be honest. Sometimes being honest is telling the truth. Another thing I learned from my grandmother was this: the truth shall set you free. Think about that. So I really believe one of the major actions of a leader is just telling the truth, just being honest. Okay? The next one that believes in the art and the science of leading. Now this is a key one for me. One that believes in the art and the science of leading. Okay? The art, that's your own. How you lead, that's yours. You are discovering and working towards what is the best way you are going to be an effective leader. That's your own. No one can. You're here today to hear some incredible speakers. You have a great opportunity in front of you. But when you leave today, you still got to discover what's your own art in developing as a leader. There always is a science to everything we do. The science says that no matter what, without a fact, this is how you can develop in being a leader. But I really think that art of being a leader is calling it your own. The next one, not being afraid of failure or to admit when one has failed. I just think that this is a key element of an action of a leader. To be able to be honest and just say I failed, or I failed you, or I'm sorry. One of the best things that I've been able to discover in my profession is to be able to sit down individually with a student athlete and say, Coach failed you. Whether it was failing them that I wasn't hard enough on them, whether it was failing them because my training program for them didn't work, and I feel like we could have made some adjustments. One of the best things for me in my goal of developing and every day as a leader is being honest and admitting my failures. That's one of the best things for me. And then the last one, conscience and the understanding to get to know oneself. I think we all have to be conscious. Have a conscience and be conscientious in having an understanding that one day we got to get to know oneself, ourselves. All right. I think we talk about being a leader, but I think that first starts with ourselves. I think that's one of the things that really first starts with ourselves. So, with that being said, the next thing we're going to move to is breaking down these three areas of leadership. I think the first one starts with lead. Lead is defined as to go before or with, to show the way. So if you looked at a dictionary, all right, and I still look at the Webster Dictionary. I got a Webster Dictionary my senior year in high school, and I still have it on my bookshelf. So I still love to go to the old book and look it up. I know you all want to be quick on a computer, but I love getting that book off the bookshelf and just looking that word up. It's just something about it, what it does for me. So the definition of lead is defined as to go before or with, to show the way. The definition of leader is defined as guiding, directing. And then my favorite is the word movement. Okay? And then the definition of leadership is an act, it's direction, or it's to prosper. In my opinion, leadership is definitely inclusive of all three of these words. And when you think about being inclusive, okay, that means everyone is considered. Leadership is inclusive of all three of these words. To lead, okay? Now, leader. When I think about leader, to me, I think about knowing a family, your immediate family, your school, your team. It's all about you, okay? So when I think about looking at leader, I think of the why of who I am. So a lot of times we don't want to look at the why of who I am. So when you think about leadership, I think it first starts with you, yourself. You taking a look at yourself. So to me, the word leader is knowing of you, of your family, your immediate family, your school, your teams, and it's all about you. Leader to me is the why of who I am. When you think about leader, you're thinking about value, what you value. You think about history. You think about morals, and you think about the servant of a leader. So we're going to back up to that. When I think about a leader, for me, what do I value? What's important to me? What do I value as a leader? Okay? Well, part of what I value is my history and my heritage. And so I think before we can really say and think about being a leader, we really have to have a really good grasp on who we are ourselves. So for me, it looks at my family history, my ethnic background, my culture. For other people, it may look at their American, German background, Irish background. For my children, they're looking at themselves, it's going to be different. Because for them, they're biracial. And so their background is going to look different than dad's because they have a pride, history, and heritage of being German American and African American. Young people, I want you to understand something. Being a leader, you gotta identify who you are first and take pride in who you are. I think it's hard for us to stand on something that we believe in when we really don't even know who we are ourselves. So being a leader has to start with you first. Then you can really, truly embrace those values that's been instilled in you, that history within you, the morals within you, and then the last one is being a servant. That's giving back to others, free from wanting anything in return. To me, that's leading. Leadership is then the exploration of others. So first we looked at the word lead. So I'm going to back up again. The word lead first starts with self. Knowing self means you have a perspective on who you are and your strengths and your weaknesses. And then we looked at leader. Knowing a family, your immediate family, your school, your team. All right? It's the why of who I am. And now we're looking at leadership, which is the exploration of others. What's that picture? The exploration of others. So we went from lead to leadership, now leader to leadership, the exploration of others. This is a favorite picture of mine. You know why? Because this summer I walked into our church to pick up my 6-year-old from Vacation Bible School. And it was at the end of the day. And I walked in, and this is what I saw as they're singing a song. The middle little guy is my guy. And as I walk in, all these parents, as I'm walking through the door, is telling me to hurry up. And so I get in, and they all are looking at these kids hugging each other. When I think of leadership, leadership is the exploration of others. At what point in our life do we grow out of this just being natural? To me, when I think about leadership and I think about today, I think about every last one of you all. If we would turn you all around and you all would put your arms around each other and carry that throughout the course of the rest of your year, academic year, the rest of your career, just think how better of an environment your schools and your community and your churches and even our own personal homes would be. Leadership, the exploration of others. Leadership is about respecting of others, is the admiration of others. Leadership to me is the awe. It's that moment of awe. It's like, wow. It's the appreciation of the opportunity, every opportunity. Leadership is, as a student athlete, it's the opportunity to look at each other and look at each practice as a time of fellowship and for fellowship. To me, leadership is to enjoy the spirit of competition and the spirit of the game. So when we think about leadership, I think we must respect ourselves in order to respect others. I think it allows us to have this incredible admiration for other people and what qualities they bring to the table, what contributions they make. A couple years ago, we was fortunate to be blessed to win a championship, and when we presented the national championship rings and clothing items, two of our maintenance personnel was there, and I stopped them and our office coordinator and our sports information director, and I presented every last one of them with the same items that our national championship athletes got. And one of the buildings and grounds gentleman said, I didn't deserve this. I said, yes, you do. Because every single day I walk in this building and you have a smile on your face. Whether you're cleaning the floor, emptying a trash can, or whether you're moving a hurdle or a pit, yes, you do deserve it. To me, leadership is having that admiration for those who sometimes we give very little credit for the work that they do. To me, when I look at Mike and Kenny, it's the I factor every single day. Because no matter how cold it is, how hot it is, they're always outside doing jobs that no one else wants to do. Leadership is the appreciation of the opportunity. And I'm going to touch on, as a student athlete, leadership is the opportunity to look at each practice as a time of fellowship. What is fellowship? When I think about fellowship, I think about my grandmother. Fellowship was what we did at the end of church every Sunday, the entire family. Young people, if we looked at practices and training sessions and study groups as fellowship, think about just how effective you could be. But in turn, we look at it as work, something that we have to do. I challenge you to look at those opportunities as fellowship. And the last one is to enjoy the spirit of competition and the spirit of the game. Every opportunity you get is a blessing, young people. So should be enjoying and embracing the spirit of that moment. Leadership moves ahead of today's win. Leadership moves ahead of today's win. The present and as quickly becomes one, the past. Leadership is a constant act moving forward. I want you to understand this quote. Leadership moves ahead of today's win. That's like today you're going to win. You're going to win by being here today. It's the present, but it quickly becomes one because after you leave here today, you leave this building, it becomes one now. I won. It's the past. But the key component to leadership is this. It is a constant act. It continues to move forward. So what I'm saying to you is when you leave out of this building, you went from win to I won to now, what are you going to do next? Are you going to write in those nice books that they gave you? And you're going to get back to your school and you're going to put it in your locker room or take it home and throw it on the bed or in the box or on the table, or are you going to go back and refer to it Are you going to post those things up somewhere where you can see them every single day? Leadership moves ahead of today's win, the present, and quickly becomes one, the past. Leadership is a constant act. It's moving forward every day, every moment, every minute. Leadership is living life every day with passion. Leadership is living life every day with passion. It's finding and knowing what your calling is. My calling is being a son, a brother, a husband, a parent, and in my profession, a coach. That's what my calling is. Coaching is my passion. In my opinion, there are two types of people. There's people who live life on field, and there's people who live life on passion. So when you think about being a leader, okay, there's two types of leader. There's two types of people. There's two types of athletes. So the first one is the athlete or the leader or the person who lives life on field. And what this looks like is this. Today they may feel like it, but tomorrow they may not. Okay? With this athlete, you never know what you're going to get. Never know what you're going to get. You never know who is going to show up, and you never know what decisions they will make. So a person or a student athlete that lives life by field is that this is the example. They came to practice today and they were unreal. But then tomorrow they're going to come to practice and you don't even know if that's the same person. That leaves us coaches and administrators, all right, and at times even parents like baffled, like, how can this be the same person? The other thing about a person that lives life on field or a leader that lives life on field is that they're so inconsistent, you never know what you're going to get. So, for example, for a basketball coach, that's that 6'5" post player who is killing the boards. But one game they may have 20 rebounds, and the next game they may have 2. How is that possible? Okay? You never know who's going to show up. And what I mean by this is, today they have a smile on their face, they have a great attitude, and tomorrow it's like they're not even approachable. And the last one is, you never know what decisions they're going to make. Never know what kind of decisions that they will make. Now, what you're developing right now as a leader is critical today for your future. But I'm going to give you an example of what a student athlete at the college level looks like, who's an athlete who you never know what decision they're going to make. That's this right here. That's us winning the conference championship a year ago. And that's me getting the entire team together, and we're breaking down, and everybody's celebrating men and women's conference championships. And then at the end, I say this to the entire group: make good decisions tonight. Don't do anything that would place embarrassment to yourself, your immediate family, to this Wartburg track and field family, and the institution of Wartburg College. And then what happens for me, not that individual, but for me, I go home at night and I get no sleep. You know why? Because I'm worried about that individual who lives life on field, because I don't know what decision they're going to make. So I'm waiting for a phone call. Do you want to be that leader or that athlete or that individual who lives life by field? Or do you want to be that individual who's lived life by passion? The individual, the athlete, the leader who lives life by passion looks like this. They love it. They flat out love every single opportunity they get. Every opportunity they enjoy it. As a coach, it's like refreshing when we have those students and student athletes in our classroom and in the school building and on our teams and in the plays. They love it. It's something that has triggered in their mind, some type of experience or situation that's occurred in their life that reminded them that every single day is a blessing. So they're going to love it. They're going to take advantage of it. They're not going to just go. The person who lives life on passion, they exhaust all their options to become better. They can't get enough. They cannot get enough. That's the person that's still, at the end of the day, at the hour or 2 hour practice, they want more. They want to get more shots in. They want to get more spikes in. They want to get back in the batting cage. That's the artist who stays, that stays in the art room to continue to perfect that one piece, that object that they're working on, that portrait or that painting or that sculpture. That's that student that shuts down the library because they want to continue to do research and learn more. Person who lives life with passion, they exhaust all of their options to make other people better. They don't even think about themselves. They think about, what can I do to make someone else better next to me? They don't want any attention brought on them. They don't want you to say anything about them. All they want you to do, and all they want to do, is make the person next to them better. The person that lives life on passion is not in just what they say, but it's what they do. It's their actions. It's their actions every single day. This athlete, family members, I would say listen to them out of respect and free from envy. And what I mean by that is the person who lives life with passion is that everybody loves to be around them because of what they say and how they say it. Free from any envy, any judgment. Living life with feel or passion. Are you the leader who lives life by feel, or are you the leader who lives life by passion? One of the things I want to leave you with here as I get ready to conclude here is this. I want to share my key points that I refer to in my everyday living that keeps me grounded in what type of leader that I expect myself to be. So this is my own personal successful formula for coaching and teaching philosophy. So here it goes. Every day is a blessing, so live. So I have this posted up every day I can see multiple places because I want to be reminded myself from a leader standpoint, from a dad standpoint, from a husband standpoint, from a son standpoint, from a professional, that every single day I have, every single day I get is a blessing, so I want to live it. The next thing is believe in the struggle. Your journey, your path, your story. My mom taught me this. She said, son, you must believe in your own struggle. She told me, she said, son, your journey is supposed to only look like yours. Your path is only supposed to be yours, and your story is yours. You have to embrace your story. So what she was telling me at a very young age is that I had to embrace growing up poor. I had to embrace growing up without a dad. I had to embrace not to place judgment on my dad leaving when I was 5 years old. I had to embrace the violence and the death that I grew up in. I had to embrace people saying that because I couldn't pass the ACT test, I would not make it. My mom taught me to embrace my own struggle to take ownership in mind. The next one, live life with integrity. Every single day, you have to remind yourself, no matter what, no matter how hard it is some days, live life with integrity. Live life with integrity. We had an experience the other day with my oldest son, who's in the 8th grade, and in Waverly they have what they call the lightweights and the heavyweights, and so the conference decides on who's going to be the lightweight, and the coaches at the school decides on by size who's the lightweight, who's the heavyweights. Well, today a lot of the numbers are down, and so there's not a lot. That's not 2 games, so they play like 2.5 quarters, and so we played a opponent, and the heavyweights had to play 2.5 quarters. Well, we played 2.5 quarters, and they left, and the lightweights came in. Unfortunately, the opponent that we played the entire same group of guys the entire 4 quarters, and in the 5th quarter, they had 8 guys who sat on the bench the entire time, and then they brought them in. And at the end of the game, as my son is walking off the field, he's a heavyweight guy. He's in the 8th grade. He's like 6'2.5", like 197, size 13 shoes. Big guy is mad. And my wife went to go give him a hug and tell him a good job and his little brothers. And he had one of those things where he just wanted to get away and get on the bus. And so I stopped him. And I said, you better hug your mom. And you better let your little brothers hug you. And then your dad is going to give you a kiss in front of everybody unless you smile right now. And then I looked at him, I grabbed him by his past, and I said, son, it's called integrity. Your coaching staff did it the right way. Yes, you only played 2.5 quarters. I know you wanted to play more, but you did it the right way. I'm proud of your coach. Live life with integrity every day. The next one, be the best person you can be every day. Not just some days. Every single day, I want you to be the best person you can be every day. The next one, never dwell on the negative. Never dwell on the negative. You know what I tell my athletes? Don't be that athlete who dwells on the negative. You know the athlete who dwells on the negative, they get done with a race or an event, or they come out the shot put ring, and an athlete who's dwelling on the negative is like this. Throwing stuff, not at Wartburg. You are not going to show your opponents that you're frustrated. You're not going to do it. Don't dwell on the negative. What was good that came out of you struggling or not? What's the good part about that? That's what I want you to think about. The next one, never place blame or judgment. It is not you to do. Never place blame or judgment. It is not for you to do. I got this one from my mom. You know why? Because I was an angry young man growing up. I was mad at my dad. How could my dad leave us? Inner city, poor. Mom is struggling, working 2 jobs to take care of us. How in the world could he leave us? And she would stop me every single time and say, it's not for you to place judgment on your dad. It is you to learn to love him. The next one, forgive, embrace times of adversity and joy. See, we quickly want to embrace that joy, that victory, but we don't want to a lot of times embrace adversity. It's something special that comes from adversity, you all. There's something really special within you, every last one of you all, that comes from facing adversity. The next one, believe in your dreams. I close by saying this. Every opportunity that you have,
to first of all become a better person, in my opinion, is where you first start. And that's that word lead. Then that word leader is really embracing you. It's really taking a really solid look at, okay, what's my foundation of being a leader? Where do that come from? And I would hope that it comes from your family and like I said, your history, your culture, your community, your churches. But I also would hope that it comes from coaches and teachers and administrators. And I also hope that it comes from experiences. Those experiences, the wins and the losses. Then the last one, again, is leadership. That's the exploration of other people. There's nothing like having an opportunity to really break those barriers down where you can really open your eyes and your heart to those other leaders, those other special people that's around you. There's nothing more like exciting or liberating to have your heart open up that wide. So I challenge you to lead, to be a leader, and to embrace all leadership within yourself and within others. Thank you, and God bless.